On the power and control wheel, another tactic is minimizing, denying, and blaming. And this particular tactic is one which, like intimidation, happens very often. Anytime something doesn't go the way he believes it should go, he finds a way to either shift the blame from himself to her or blame whatever it is that happened on her. So it could be something like the kids were misbehaving at Grandpa and Grandma's. It's because she doesn't know how to parent. It's because she doesn't know how to manage her children. She doesn't listen to him, therefore she's defective, and therefore it's her fault. It could be something like he went out drinking, he didn't call, he comes home late, and she says, "Where were you? You didn't call." Well, I didn't call because I know I'm going to get the same thing from you every time I do. You're the reason I don't call. You're the reason I don't come home, right? So everything that happens that's a problem in the house gets shifted to her. Now this tactic of blaming is one of those real crazy making kinds of behaviors where the woman and the kids will know what really did happen. But when you live with a man who is violent, the best way to navigate and to stay safe is to know more about him than he knows about himself. To do that, you have to take on a lot of his thinking. So the longer you spend with a man like this, the more that you start adopting the way he thinks. Initially as a strategy to navigate safely around him, but eventually what happens is you can tend to lose yourself because now you've adopted his thinking rather than your own. And so when he starts blaming you or minimizing what he's done, even if it's beating you into submission, it's your fault, right? So the violence and the hurt and the pain is even put on her. That's her fault. So after a while, like I said, you start taking on that thinking that he has, and you begin to blame yourself, even sometimes before he does. If I would have just made dinner differently, if I would have just, mowed the lawn and got the lines just right the way he wants them, then he wouldn't have come home and screamed and yelled and broke things or hit me or slapped me, right? And when in reality, it has nothing to do with the lawn or the dinner. It's really his desire and his way of dominating you and getting you to submit to what he wants you to do. Emotional abuse is another tactic on the power and control wheel. This particular form of abuse is something that happens usually more often than the physical violence does, because it's his way of getting her to understand that she's less than. He believes in his head that he has a right to dominate her. He believes that he's superior to her. He wants her to believe the same thing, and part of how he gets her to believe he's superior is by constantly putting her down. So the kitchen's never clean enough. The dishes are never done the right way. The kids are never disciplined correctly. You don't even go to the store on the right road. It takes you too long to get to the kids' school and back again. I mean, there's literally nothing that she does right, and he's constantly using emotional abuse as a way to get her to believe that not only isn't she worthy, but literally she couldn't survive on her own without him. That she needs his superior thinking abilities in order to even survive. This has come to me many times when working with men who are violent and then talking to their partners. So this emotional abuse takes the form of a lot of name calling, not just putting her down and her choices down, but also name calling. So I've read police reports for years and years and years, hundreds of police reports. I've yet to come across a police report where an officer is interviewing a man who has beaten his partner and he refers to her by her given name. He refers to her as a cunt, a whore, a bitch, a slut, all these different names, but never her name. And when we work with men in class in a rehabilitation effort, one of the group rules is that they have to call their partners by their name. There are men in class who refuse to participate because they will not use her given name, because it's a point of respect, and they can't extend that to their partners because they don't believe that she's actually equal to them. This is the depth of that entitlement, that dominance that they carry into the home and into their relationships with women. So although the women say that the hitting causes a great deal of fear and a great deal of pain, it's the emotional abuse, that constant diminishment of who they are as women, and the name calling that gets associated with it, that is some of the hardest for the women to overcome, because they literally lose themselves in this notion that they are something other than who they believed they were before they met him.